Yo, what's good? It's your girl Crombie. This is another episode of Talking Football with Crombie. I appreciate everybody that's liking, subscribing. Don't forget to comment, leave girl a comment, but checking me out. So let's get into Talking Football with Crombie. We had a game on Thursday. We have games tomorrow. I'm excited to get into those games. So without further ado, let's get it. Let's get into the Thursday night game. We had the Miami Dolphins versus the Jacksonville Jaguars down in Duval. I was lit. I was like, yo, I got Jacksonville. But there were some eye-popping numbers from this game, and I'm going to just break these down for you. Of the 10 possessions that Jacksonville had, 8 of them ended in either a turnover on downs, a fumble, a punt, or INT. For y'all that don't know what INT is, that's an interception. Either way, that means that they gave the ball back to Miami. No problem. Here you go. Best defense. Jacksonville, what's up? Y'all defense ain't 10 toes down. Y'all 10 toes out the door. So I'm going to have to go ahead and shout out Miami. Houston Texans versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. A team or teams that haven't met since 2017. And the outcome of that game in favor of the Steelers, 34-6. And quite frankly, I don't believe that 2020 is going to be any different. I think the Texans, they're going to have a rude awakening. And it's going to come on the hands of Pittsburgh's third-rate defense. But the biggest factor here is going to be if the Houston Texans can stop the run. As of right now, they're giving up just under 200 yards per game on the ground, which is the second most in the NFL. So it is going to be heavily on the Houston Texans defense to find a way to not only stop the run, but they're going to have to figure out a way to stop Big Ben and this offense from pushing the ball down the field and then countering that with run plays to keep the defense off balance. Quite frankly, I just don't think the Houston Texans have enough. They don't have the firepower. They don't have the protection for Deshaun Watson. Like, I actually feel bad. I feel bad for him. And not just because his O-line stinks, but, like, he didn't have anybody to throw the ball to. His buddy, y'all know who I'm talking about. D-Hop is gone. What the dude said, peace, I ain't coming back. Peace. For real. So, anyways, I got Steelers. I think y'all know that already. I got Steelers. 2016 was the last time the Bengals and the Eagles met. And the Bengals would actually win that game, 32-14. But it's 2020. These are two different teams. Rookie quarterback over at the Bengals, and then you got Carson Wentz with the Eagles. Super Bowl winning quarterback. How does this one play out? Well, let's take a look at the stats. Currently, the Cincinnati Bengals score about 21.5 points per game. And then you have the Eagles coming in with the paltry 18 points per game. So immediately you look at the stats and you say, hey, I got the Eagles. But not so fast. Not so fast at all. The Bengals have one of the worst running defenses in the league, and they're giving up about 185 yards per game. And then when you look at a team like the Eagles, who have somebody like Miles Sanders, who 4 out of his last 6 games, and this dates back to 2019, he's averaged 100-plus scrimmage yards. That's not going to fare out well for the Bengals if they're not able to stop the run. But Philly's not out of the dark yet. Carson Wentz right now is tied for the lead for most interceptions thrown through 2 weeks. That's not a statistic you want to be a part of, Carson. I think we're here on that. But I don't think that's going to deter me from taking the Eagles over the Bengals. Now, in the last 5 meetings that the Bengals have had with the Eagles, they've allowed 17 points or less, which that's kind of on par with what the Eagles are doing with their 18. But I just don't see a way for the Bengals to go to Philly and come out with a win. I think Carson Wentz, he finds a way to step up. Back to MetLife Stadium, something that the 49ers probably are cringing at the thought of. they're coming off a win over the Jets, but it kind of felt like a loss. Nick Bosa goes down. Solomon out. Garoppolo, Mostert, Tevin Coleman. And it felt like the list, it just kept getting bigger because coming into the game, Kittle was out. And then they leave with this many other injuries. But let's look at the Giants because they didn't just come out of their last game and unfazed. They lost Saquon Barkley, should I say, which is so unfortunate because this running back has so much promise. San Francisco 49ers, San Francisco, they need to get a win and they need to get back to the West Coast. And they need to get. Since 2013, the Giants have started every year 0-2, except, there's one exception, 2016. So I bet the Giants wish they could go back to vintage so they can get back in the playoffs because that was the last time. I'm going with Nicky Mullins. Yeah, I'm doing it. I know Garoppolo's out. I don't have a lot of faith in Garoppolo anyway, so I am going with the 49ers in this game. With the Patriots coming off a somewhat winnable game against the Seahawks and the Las Vegas Raiders completely dismantling the Saints, this game was definitely one that was intriguing when I started to look at the stats. So immediately when I think of Gruden, I go back to 2001 when his team would go up against the Patriots, and in that coaching stint, I think the term tuck rule, it still bothers him a little bit, right? But in this game, it's a little bit different. His Raiders are going to have to go to New England and find a way to get a win against a team that has the reigning defensive player of the year, who most likely will be paired up against their best player in Darren Waller. So let's look at the stats. Over the past 2 weeks, the Raiders have put up 34 points on both the Carolina Panthers and the New Orleans Saints. But the last time the Raiders met the Pats in 2017, the Pats won 33-8. So I would say that's pretty convincing to me. But last week, Stephon Gilmore, that reigning defensive player of the year that I talked about, he got smoked. He was getting smoked all over the field. DK Metcalf was have yourself a day, DK. Shout out to DK real quick. I'm just saying, Stephon. Football. The biggest thing for the Patriots and the biggest thing for the Raiders is going to be to stop the run. They're both giving up 120 yards per game. Now, through the air, Raiders giving up a little bit more. They're almost giving up 300 yards through the air, while the Patriots are giving up about a little under 230. So this game is going to be interesting. I do think the Patriots should win easily. I don't think that they're going to know what to do with Cam. I do think the Raiders' defensive front is good, but I just think the Patriots are going to be able to win this game. It's in Foxborough, so Patriots don't normally lose at home. I know they don't have TB12, but you heard what I said. They got Cam Newton now, so they're not even worried about that. Let's go, Pats. Let's go, Pats. All right, now let's talk about the Tennessee Titans versus the Minnesota Vikings. A Minnesota Vikings team that last week I said would put the smack down on the Colts. So let me take a second to apologize to the Colts. Please, I'm asking for your forgiveness. Please forgive me for not picking you against the Vikings. But to the Minnesota Vikings, how y'all let me down like that? Mike Zimmer, I thought you was better than that. But unfortunately, going into this week, Mike, I'm going against you. I'm going with my dude, Mike Vrabel. That's right. I got Tennessee Titans up against the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings have been underwhelming. The Titans, they play good, but quite frankly, they barely beat a Jags team that, as we know from Thursday night, look real high schoolish. Like they have not played up to par. And the Titans really had a problem with that Jaguars team. So I'm a little reluctant to go with the Tennessee Titans, but I do feel really comfortable with the coaching staff over there in Tennessee. So I'm going with the Titans, especially when I look at the stats. The Vikings have been outscored in the first two games. in the first half, 37-13. That's not a statistic you want to be a part of. And that's why I'm taking the Titans. Let's go! All right, Washington Redskins versus the Cleveland Browns. A matchup that the Cleveland Browns shouldn't take lightly, especially because the Washington defense has put up the most sacks in the NFL up until this point with 11. And last week, I couldn't remember the rookie's name, but Chase Young, I know your name now, boy. He is leading the league with 2.5 sacks. The boy is balling. And it's not just him. They got plenty of other players over there on that defensive line that are wrecking games, as Baker Mayfield would say. And honestly, I don't know that Baker's got the O-line to handle these type of pass rushers. Like, he just doesn't. But I got Cleveland winning this game. I think they have enough firepower. If they can stop Washington from getting to Baker Mayfield, and Baker Mayfield has a little time in the pocket, I think he can get the ball to his receivers. I do think that they'll be able to use Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt as a 1-2 punch, just how they have been doing. And they got to run first, throw second, and I think that combination right there is really going to set Cleveland up, not only for this game against Washington, but moving forward and utilizing the weapons that they have. Once you set up the running game, it sets up the play action pass. So that's how you get Odell Beckham open. Get him going early, too. The biggest thing with Odell is you got to get him going early. Let's go, Browns. Let's get this. Rams-Bills. Rams got to go all the way over to New York to play in Buffalo. Nobody want to play in Buffalo, but under Sean McVay, the Rams are 5-0 on the East Coast. So when they go to the East, they come back with the dub to the West. So West Side represent. Not LA though. Y'all know we from the Bay. Side note. But when we're looking at this game, in the last meeting, the Bills actually won against the Rams in 2016, 30-19. Obviously, this was before Sean McVay came on. Now, when we're looking at Josh Allen, because I think a lot of people sleep on this big giant, he's the fourth QB in the Super Bowl era that has over 700 plus yards and 6 TDs and no interceptions. That is phenomenal. So I definitely want to shout out that Bills QB for making it happen. He has some weapons. We talked about Smoke last week. We talked about Stephon Diggs, and he has been utilizing them to his advantage. Keep it up, Josh. Let's go. But it's just not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. The Rams are one of 2 teams that have more interceptions than they've allowed teams passing touchdowns. So, with that said, I'm going with the Rams. The Rams is going to Buffalo. The Rams going to come back with the dub. Buffalo, no disrespect, because I think y'all been balling. I just don't think y'all could beat the Rams. I don't think you're good enough. I'm just saying. Chicago Bears versus the Atlanta. I should have said the Atlanta choking Falcons, because they continue to find ways to lose games when they're up. But let's talk about it. Chicago Bears average 22 points per game. That is the fewest of the entire NFL of teams that are 2-0. Yikes. But with the Falcons, what do you say about a team that is single-handedly whooping the Cowboys up until 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, where they would let Dallas rattle off more than 15 points to win the game? Dan Quinn should be on the hot seat. The Falcons should win this game. They should be able to beat the Bears, because the Bears shouldn't be 2-0. They should be 0-2. Let's be honest. But it's all about who comes to play, and we know that on any given Sunday, any team can win a game. And these past 2 Sundays, the Chicago Bears, they found a way to squeak it out. Should they have? No. But did they? Yeah. But they ain't gonna do it again. They definitely won't. The Falcons, they're going to win this game. And the Chicago Bears, after this game, they're going to be questioning Mitch Trubisky again, which they should. And Nick Foles should be in the conversation. I don't know when it's gonna happen. I don't know when when Nagy is gonna be ready to pull a trigger. But if I'm Nagy right now, I'm pulling the trigger. I need somebody that my team believes in, and I hear you. We believe in Trubisky. No, the hell you don't. I don't. Stop playing. You don't. You don't. So I got Falcons. Let's just cut to I got Falcons. We have the Carolina Panthers at the Los Angeles Chargers. This game, I believe, it's up in the air for me, but then when I start to look at certain things, Carolina has lost 10 consecutive games. Now, we know they have a new head coach, but there's a lot of things to think about going into this game. Christian McCaffrey's out. Teddy Bridgewater, he hasn't looked that great. And then on the other side, with the Chargers, they're working with their rookie QB in Herbert. But ultimately, when I'm looking at these two teams, both of them are giving up entirely too many yards. That's why I'm going with the Chargers. Yep, I'm going with the Chargers. So we got Jets-Colts. Last week, I said the Colts were going to lose to the Vikings. So again, I'm coming to you. Colts. Frank, right? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say, well, I did mean to say your team was going to lose to the Vikings, but I'm sorry, okay? Y'all don't take it out on me. I think that I helped, though. I think what I said probably boosted y'all confidence. But Colts, Jets, I mean, I don't know what to say about this game. Literally, the Jets have the worst offense in the league. They have the worst offense in the league. They also have the worst head coach. I don't know how many times I need to say this. Adam Gase is not that guy, Jets. Come on. Colts. I really like the Colts defense. They're ranked, I believe, number 1 right now. They haven't been ranked number 1 since like the 70s. It has been a while since the Colts have had a number 1 ranked defense. So shout out to that Colts defense. They've been putting it down. On the other side of the ball, we know Phillip Rivers is still giving it up. Phillip, stop throwing INTs, man. You've been throwing INTs every game for the past couple weeks. We're going to have to do better than that. Luckily, the Jets are very lenient to quarterbacks. They gave Jimmy G, he had 140.4 passer rating before he left that game against the Jets. Colts, Phillip Rivers, y'all should be able to do some dirty work. Let's jump into a matchup that a lot of people have been talking about. Dallas Cowboys versus the Seattle Seahawks. Dangerous versus Dak. But who would win? Russell Wilson's coming off a 5 TD performance against the Patriots, and Dak single-handedly, with not only his arm, but his legs, led his team back to a victory over the Falcons when nobody thought it was possible. So, shout out to Dak. Still don't think he's that dude, though. The key is going to be, can Seattle stop Dallas' explosive plays? Dallas is ranked number 1 in the NFL with plays of over 10 yards. And Seattle, on the other hand, they rank last in stopping plays of over 10 yards. So this could really be a huge battle between these teams of who can stop the big play, because we know Russell Wilson is good for a few. We know Dak can also put up some yards as well. But ultimately, I have the Seahawks winning this game. I'm taking Russell Wilson every day of the week. There aren't a lot of people that I would pick before him. Bucks versus Broncos. TB12 versus Jeff Driscoll? Yeah, nobody knows who that is. Drew Lock is out for this game, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the Bucks are free and clear to win this without any issues, because I do think that it is going to be tough. The Denver Broncos have always played Tom Brady well. He's actually 4-7 versus the Broncos when he plays in Denver, and obviously that includes the playoffs. But when you think about Denver's quarterback, like I said, Drew Lock is out. He's dealing with that shoulder injury. Jeff Driscoll is one of the worst quarterbacks in the league that has 8+ games starting. So I think the Tampa Bay Bucks are going into this game feeling really good. They have one of the top rush defenses. So I just don't see what Denver is going to be able to do in this game. I think Jerry Jeudy is also dealing with an injury. So it's going to be tough. And then Leonard Fournette, the last time he played the Broncos, he had over 225 yards from 29 carries. So I see this happening again. I see that Tampa Bay started to lead on the run game a little bit more. There's been some questions about Tom Brady's arm. I'm not saying he's old, but I don't see him throwing the ball down the field. Neither is Drew, but we'll talk about it. Now, I got Tampa Bay winning this game. This game should be over quick, hopefully by halftime. This is one of the games that I don't think anybody's watching, unless you like Tom Brady. Like, nobody's watching this game. The 0-2 Detroit Lions versus the 2-0 Arizona Cardinals. The last time these teams matched up, it was a tie, 27-27. But that was only after Detroit blew yet another fourth quarter 18-point lead to allow Arizona to tie the game to take. With Detroit off to such a terrible start and Arizona being laser hot, which one of these teams come out on top? Currently, through 2 games, Hopkins has 22 receptions, 1 TD, and 107 yards after the catch. I have the Arizona Cardinals beating the Detroit Lions, Green Bay Packers versus the New Orleans Saints, Aaron Rodgers versus Drew Brees. 2 quarterbacks that I believe will be in the Hall of Fame. I'm sure you all agree. But when Aaron Rodgers goes down to New Orleans, what's going to be the outcome? There's been a lot of chatter about Drew Brees and his arm and can he move the ball downfield. And quite frankly, I don't think he cares. He just wants to win, and by any means necessary. And yes, we know Michael Thomas is out. Can't guard Mike is not playing. But next man up mentality is in full effect. Because right now, the Packers, they're putting up 40 a game. And Aaron Jones and Aaron Rodgers, they're the Aarons to beat. I got the Packers winning in New Orleans. I just surprised myself with that. I didn't even think I was going to pick them. But I am. I'm picking the Packers. I have faith in Aaron Rodgers. I have faith in this run game. I don't believe that Devontae Adams is playing, and I don't think that that's going to matter. We've seen Aaron Rodgers be able to throw the ball all around the yard to players that you've never heard of, that I've never heard of, that weren't on the practice squad. They just walked on before the game. I don't even know who these people are. Either way, I'm going with Aaron Rodgers. This is no disrespect to Drew Brees because I do think Drew Brees is one of the best quarterbacks ever. He's just, him and Tom are in their 40s. I know they want to play forever, but at some point, you got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them. But I'm going Pack. Week 3 will end on Monday night with a rivalry that everybody's been looking forward to. The Kansas City Chiefs versus the Baltimore Ravens. Patrick Mahomes versus Lamar Jackson. In the last 2 matchups, the Chiefs have gotten the better of the Baltimore Ravens. And I mean the better of the Baltimore Ravens. But both of those matchups were in Kansas City. This one's going to be in Baltimore at an M&T Bank Stadium without a crowd. So crowd noise isn't going to be an issue. The real issue is how to stop Patrick Mahomes, at least according to Wink Martindale. He's been looking forward to this matchup for quite some time. Patrick Mahomes has sliced up his defense on both occasions, and this time, he wants it to be different. But the Chiefs also know that the reigning MVP is not going to go quietly. He's found ways to have success against the Chiefs, and Monday night, he expects nothing less than a win. And that's exactly what Baltimore is going to do at home. I got my team, the Baltimore Ravens, with the win versus the Chiefs. That's right. It's going to be a tough matchup. Baltimore finds a way to win. They are going to have to make sure that they find a way to take somebody we're going to need a nickel corner. Tavon Young went down last week, and I don't feel comfortable with Marlon Humphrey going into the slot and having Anthony Avery pull out on quarterback. Because if I'm Patrick Mahomes and I see Anthony Avery out there, I am going for his, you know what? Seriously. I got Baltimore Ravens in this. My team, please don't let me down. The Chiefs have had an issue tackling the last couple weeks. I hope they have more issues tackling. Let's go! Yo, what's good? I want to thank everybody for tuning in this week. I've been feeling a little bit under the weather, but we going to be back at it next week. Don't forget that we going to get lit. We going to get tight. We going to get...
Silly talk. You know I'm on walk. Yeah. I got a mask and the main attraction. Yeah. I run it up like Lamar Jackson. Yeah. You think I'm a lame, I don't say much. But I'm hanging out the window, I'ma spray much. Yeah. Niggas wanna go to war with a battle. Oh Lord, I'ma have to.